But for every other class, I don't care. I'm going to do what I can to get a passing grade because I'm going to get the diploma. And the only reason I'm getting the diploma is so that I can have this conversation with people saying, I went through it, I took the classes, and I'm going to use what I know to help you. I have the psychological sciences major. I have it, but I can tell you what, I'm using none of it to help you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 27th episode of the Conscious Cast with your boy Cal and your boy
Jason.
And as you can see, quality is impeccable, all right?
It is impeccable. What a blessing to be here. Shout out to Garrett Copeland. Thank you, Garrett.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, Garrett. So this is the 27th episode, our second episode in this new studio. We're still getting adjusted here, but our last episode we touched on challenges. We summarized some really good topics, some areas that I think I took a lot from, honestly, just on social media.
No, 100%.
Just like life in general, and like how we as individuals can just challenge our way of thinking, reprogram our minds to just become better individuals.
So, I'm just going to kind of go off the riff here. Something I've been thinking about a lot is hanging around better people. And I know that's like such a general thing. Like, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But the big thing that I think is really tangible for understanding like who you hang around is if you spend enough time around friends, family, acquaintances, peers, teachers, whoever, people that you're being influenced by, and those people don't believe in you and don't believe in your dreams and your goals and your aspirations, you're not going to believe in them either.
For sure.
You're not. Because limiting beliefs are easily transferred to other people, especially with people that you care about and love. And a lot of times that means you got to stop talking to the people that you love the most. And it will suck, but it's what you need. And it's not that you're prioritizing success over family or success over everything. It's like you're prioritizing your own mental well-being. Because what's the point of life if you're not going to pursue the things that you're passionate about? You know what I'm saying?
For sure, yeah.
It ties back to progress is happiness, right? If you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to even try, let alone make any progress towards something that's even worthwhile for you, right? And I've been dealing with that. Actually, that's like my new thing that's been going on. It's like one of my friends I grew up with, I've been having conversations with recently, especially about this whole personal development coaching thing. And it's becoming very evident to me that he does not believe that I can do this. He doesn't believe that this is what I'm meant to do. This is not what I'm about. This is the wrong choice and what I should be doing. And I'm sitting there and I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning the social media. I'm questioning the coaching. I'm questioning the psychology, everything. And then I'm thinking like, damn, like maybe I'm not meant for this. But that limiting belief was put there from somebody else, not myself. I didn't feel like that before I had the conversation with him. He just decided to tell me that that's what he believes I'm capable of. And he's entitled to that belief. But I'm not entitled to spend time with him or talk to him. And neither is anybody else. And if you spend time with people that are going to impose their limiting beliefs on you, then you can decide whether or not they're going to be an influence in your life anymore.
Yeah, dude, that is such like a big thing too. I was literally just thinking about that yesterday. I was like, where does meaning come from in our lives? And like you said it perfectly. It's like it comes from that belief, that belief in yourself, that belief that you are able to do things, the belief that you have the capacity and the ability. But like you said, it's like this placebo effect, and I'm sure you've seen it within psychology. I forget exactly what. I think it's the biology of belief or something like that. I forget who exactly, what doctor came out with that. But
is that a book?
I think so. Yeah, it's something like that.
Biology. Can you write it down real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I forget because I want to read that.
Jason is a major pussy.
He ruined my train of thought.
I gotta look it up real quick. So essentially, I didn't read the book, but I watched like a video about it, and pretty much it just describes how individuals that so essentially the placebo effect, for those who don't know, is so in a double-blind trial, doctors will. I'm not too familiar with what a double-blind trial is. All I know is it is like the pinnacle of.
Double blind means that neither the people who are doing the experiments nor the people who are being experimented on know who actually is getting the drug or the placebo or whatever.
Exactly. And so a placebo is essentially the people who, there's one group that gets the real pill, right?
Yeah.
That has like the medicine, and then there's people in the other group that they're, I guess they're controlled as like a control group, and they're given like a fake pill. It might just be like an aspirin or something like that. That really has no effect, but they believe that it has an effect, right? And so when they believe that it has an effect, right? Even though there really isn't an effect, it's amazing the findings that they have, because that belief in yourself, that belief in who you are as an individual. So if, for instance, I was given like a placebo effect for some type of condition I have, right? And I was given that placebo, and I thought was giving like medication, right? And I believed in the medication so much so that my body was able to heal itself. And so in that sense, like I remember, I think it was like a Russell Brand podcast. It shows that your cells are actually conscious to some extent.
Yeah.
And through that, we are able to heal ourselves through the power of belief. And it is amazing, because once you shift your conscious state, your conscious experience to something that I guess you could say is more positive, more preferable, and because your mind is connected to your immune system, right? And so when you're in a fearful state of mind, when you're generating fear through your mind, you're actually lowering your immune system.
Yeah, because you produce cortisol.
Exactly.
And cortisol, I mean, we need cortisol, right? It plays a big role. I'm very
We're not doctors, people.
Yeah, I'm not completely educated on this, but cortisol is very helpful, especially in situations where it's fight or flight, where
exactly.
high stress situations, you need that cortisol to keep you alive. But people who self-impose stress as if they're in caveman times being chased by a tiger, when in reality they're afraid of going up and asking a girl out or something stupid that you don't need to be stressed and worried about, is all self-imposed. Yeah. And that over time, you can even look at it with COVID. Yeah. It's the number 2 predictor of death from COVID is stress, worry, fear.
It's bad.
Fear.
Yeah, fear. And what does the media do? They fucking portray you with, like, they just blast it in your face. I'm like, listen, this is a whole nother topic we could totally get into if you want, because that's one of my favorite areas to talk about. Just
I know it is.
Breaking down the matrix, breaking down this system. But just like kind of keeping it back on track with what we're talking about. Yeah. It's crazy because like you said, it's self-induced. We create it ourselves. We create so much fear through the mind. And don't get me wrong, there's spontaneous fear that is generated out of our control. But like we've always said on this podcast, you have the ability to control your response, right? Always. And so the Stoics, what they're famous for, Stoics are like ancient Greece. You got I forget, like Marcus Aurelius, one of the most like famous self-identified Stoics of his time. He was like a former Roman emperor, like one of the best Roman emperors, I believe. I don't know, not a versed Roman scholar, but he was like, just pretty much, you have the ability. Okay, so it's not out there that matters. What matters is in here, right? And so what I mean in here is your response is dictated by your judgment, right? And so your response is not necessarily dictated by external factors.
100%.
And so, like, of course,
never. I would go to the extreme as
okay,
never.
Okay, yeah, never.
Wow.
Why would you say that?
Because nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody can decide to an extent what's going to happen. People are going to die. People are going to leave you. People are going to stab you in the back. Shit's going to happen. If there's one thing that's actually guaranteed, it's that shit's going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
And you're not going to like it. And a lot of times, most of the time, you're not going to be prepared for it. Yeah. But the 2 things you can control is what it means to you and what you're going to do. What does it mean? Let's take it to the extreme. Let's say your girl cheats on you. What does it mean? Does it mean you can't love girls anymore? Does it mean you can't open up anymore? Does it mean that everything you lived was a lie? Does it mean that none of it was worth it? It's up to you. Because You can have two people go through the same exact process and come out with two totally different meanings.
So it's all based on perception, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like those who, I guess you could say, are conscious of their response, you know, and they've worked on their response will come out with different alternatives. And so people who have been in, I guess you could say, distressful circumstances before, they come out more distressed, right? Rather than being more proactive.
Well, I think it just depends on who it is. Because I know a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, that's very true too.
That
Yeah.
life throws shit their way, and they just get worse and worse and worse.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not that they're not justified in their negative feelings, but like for example, you'll get some people that they'll go into a relationship, like I said, they'll get cheated on or something bad will happen.
Yeah.
And then they'll go into the next relationship and they won't open up and they'll settle for another person that's going to cheat on them again. And then they're going to decide, okay, you know what? Relationships are just stupid. It's not meant for me. All men are trash. All these girls are just hoes. Whatever meaning you're going to decide to take away from it. But that all comes down to emotional intelligence. It has nothing to do with what happened. Yeah. It all has to do with the meaning that you decided to give it, right? And it all comes down to your emotional intelligence, right? Because it's not glass half full or glass half empty. It's, do you want to be happy or do you want to be fucking pissed off and blame the world all day? Yeah. It's a choice.
It really is. Yeah.
So the first thing, is meaning. What does this mean? Yeah. Your girl cheats on you. What does it mean? Okay, you can choose. This means I'm never opening up to anyone ever again, and relationships are way too hard. Or it can mean, where did I go wrong? What do I need to do to make sure that there's the least possibility of this happening again? And the second decision is, what am I going to do? Yeah. What am I going to do? I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure out why this happened, where I went wrong to make this come to be. Because chances are, if somebody's cheating on you, you went wrong somewhere. There's nobody that actually values themselves highly that's going to get into a relationship with someone that's going to cheat on them. For most cases. Mm-hmm. Like, take you, for example. I don't know your intimate life, but I can guarantee you're not going to
tell you one thing. It's not there. That's my choice, though.
It's actually non-existent. No, but if a girl comes your way and you see that she doesn't take care of her body, she doesn't read, she doesn't meditate, she doesn't do anything. You don't have to have these cookie cutter answers or these cookie cutter things that you do, but she doesn't value herself highly. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't get into a relationship with her in the first place. Mm-hmm. Yep. But it's the same thing with this whole cheating thing. It's like, if you can't look at yourself and figure out where you are responsible for somebody else treating you poorly, you're going to keep running into the same problems over and over again. Because the truth of the matter is, you wouldn't settle for somebody that doesn't value you if you didn't value yourself.
Yeah, it's reflected outwards.
Dude, if you consider yourself, and I don't mean fake bullshit, chest up, big muscles, like confidence. I mean real fucking self-confidence. If you really have self-love, self-confidence, self-respect, whatever word you want to put to it, you're not going to settle for a relationship with somebody who doesn't respect you either. You won't. And if you can't take that meaning out of if somebody cheats on you or somebody does you wrong or somebody stabs you in the back, and you're just going to say, well, relationships are just stupid and I'm not going to open up to anybody anymore, then so be it. But that's the meaning you chose. You can't choose that someone's going to cheat on you. But you can choose how you're going to learn from it, what you're going to do, and how you move on. So that's my big thing. Like, wrapping it back to where this all started is, you can't control what's going to happen. You can't, but you can control what you're going to decide the meaning is of what happened, and you can control what you're going to do. Those are the two things you can control, and that will dictate how you feel and how your life goes. And if you choose terrible, shitty meanings and choose not to do anything good about it, then the chances of you actually moving on and growing and learning are slim to none.
For sure. Dude, yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's like, and like what I touched on the Stoics earlier, I remember like earlier this summer, actually, no, I wrote a paper about the Stoics and Buddhism last fall. and like pretty much their views of suffering. Like I cross compared the Buddha and Marcus Aurelius and their views of suffering. And so, like I knew about like controlling your response to situations, like much before like I even knew about the Stoics. But it's just crazy to think that these individuals 2,000 years ago figured this shit out, and no, it really is. And like and most of the shit that there's very limited access to information in regards to so for instance, like the only primary document of Marcus Aurelius is it was his private journal. It's now formally called the Meditations. But that's like the only book that is like left of his, and it all got destroyed over time. And it's just kind of like on a little side note, like imagine the amount of information and knowledge that is truly there, but has gone away with time, just because it's just been like lost, destroyed by people who just like, didn't like them, because those are times of major division and, just up for power grabs and stuff. But that's besides the point. One of the big things I took away from writing that paper was how it was exactly pretty much what you said. It's so essentially Stoics view suffering as indifferent, right? So as neither good or bad, right?
Yeah.
And so when you initially encounter suffering, you just treat it as it is, right? With everything that comes, you accept it, right? And you're like, okay, like I said earlier, your suffering is not generated out there; it's generated by your internal viewpoint, right?
Always.
And so on that basis, when you look at suffering, you initially accept that spontaneous feeling of whatever, like the initial suffering that comes up, right, that you can't control. And then you take a more proactive viewpoint by being more conscious and taking a more proactive approach to that situation. And then through that, like you said, you generate the meaning, your response is that meaning that you have chosen, right? And so I was actually, I think it was last night, I was actually, no, maybe this morning. No, I was writing about it this morning. Yeah. It was about existentialism. And so existentialism is essentially how inherently there is no meaning, right? Yeah. But we are the individuals that ascribe meaning, right? Yeah. We give value judgments to things, right? Objects, right? Like this computer inherently has no value, right? But we give it value. Why? Because it satisfies the goals. It has a function and it satisfies our goals.
Which
right?
we put there too.
Yeah, which we put there too. Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. And so with, I think it was Soren Kierkegaard and I think a couple other philosophers, but essentially how people get locked into these situations, right? And say, for instance, it's their job or it's just maybe like a relationship, right? Where they feel as though they're constrained and limited and they have no choice, right? And you touched on this directly. The belief, they call this formally bad faith, right? You believe that you have no options, but you do have options, right? And it's bad faith in the sense that you're pretending that you have no options, but in actuality, you do have options, right? And so with that, that's what generates anxiety, knowing that we have the freedom to choose, right? Knowing that we have the freedom to make value out of this, what they formally call nothingness, which formally means there is infinite possibilities. There's infinite choices that we can take, right? Obviously, there's not. I can't just be like, I want to go date 1 billion people. It's like something stupid, like realistically. Yeah. And it's just so true. I was sitting back and I was reflecting on it because there's so many things in my life, right? So for instance, I value school a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And imagine for me, like, I'm not saying this is how it is for me, but I was like, okay, if I'm incredibly stressed out by school, if I'm like, I'm trying to put myself in someone else's shoes. If I'm incredibly stressed out by school and I feel as though I have to take this route, there's no other options, my family's pressuring me, I have to stay in school, even though it's causing me tremendous suffering, right? That's what I believe, mm-hmm. right? And that's formally the meaning that I'm choosing. I'm constricting myself 100%. To that instance, but I'm not aware that I'm constricting myself to that instance, right? Because as we discussed before, there are options. You could stop doing school. It has been proven many of times. You can go to trade school. You can become an entrepreneur. There's so many. You can become a hairdresser. Like all these different types of things. There are options. And breaking away from that concrete fixated mold, whether it be the dominant, I guess you could say belief in your family, right? And we touched on this before. Breaking away from that dominant belief is so hard to do. It requires courage. It requires brave, right? To give yourself, to break away from the meaning others have given you and to create your own meaning. And that is a huge thing.
Dude, I love that.
You know what I mean? Like, think about that for a second. And that is like,
Say it again. Say it again.
rather than having meaning given to you by someone else and you creating your own meaning, right? Because you creating your own meaning requires effort, right? It doesn't just pop out of like existence. Maybe you can recognize it, but to apply it, that's a whole nother thing,
100%.
right? So, God damn it. I looked at the dick on the wall. God damn it. But,
Dude, I saw it earlier. I'm like, oh, I can't look at it.
But no, it's like we control our response. We give value to things, and we can create our own reality.
100%. You do create your own. I mean, and that's the thing is like, you can't control what pulls you.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
can't.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of the beauties of life.
Yeah,
Whether
it
you
really
believe in
is.
the universe, the stars, God, whatever words you want to put to it, it's undeniable that interest, like, what interests you? Like, you like painting? You like art? Do you like sports? Do you like what do you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
What? Explain to me why.
Cool.
You can't.
Dude, Cole, we touched on this before, like way back, like 9 months ago, and I'll go. This will be a short thing, and I'll let you keep talking.
Absolutely.
Cole referred to this as the fog chain, and how we can't see the fog chain, right? But we know it's there. It's pulling us in some direction, and like similar to you, like as you said, it was like, I don't know why this interests me. I don't know why this like pulls me in this way. It just does.
Yeah. 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 Damn, that's fog chain. I like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Cole's like the man when it comes to analogies and like fucking quotes. Like,
That's
you
funny.
go to him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Book.
Yeah.
But you can't control what pulls your interest.
Yeah.
Interest is just there. It is what it is.
Yeah.
There's two. You could take two different people, even if you think they're very similar people, and you can hand them a basketball, and one person's gonna absolutely love playing, even though they might suck or might be good. Has nothing to do with it. They might really enjoy it, and the other person might hate it.
Yeah.
It's just interest, and it's genetics, it's DNA, it's the universe, it's God, it's whatever words you want to put to it. It just is, and you have no control over it. And so, if you have no control over what you are pulled to, over what you're interested in, why would you follow the recommendations of society or your mom and dad
That's a good point.
or your friends because it's a safe and secure job?
Yeah.
Or because that's what you should do, or because that will give you a lot of money and benefits. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Interest is just there. Nobody can give you that. So what makes you think that you should follow the path that somebody else thinks you should follow? You're the only one that can know that.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one that can feel that. Because you are you and nobody else is you.
Yeah. No one else is living your experience.
Nobody else can live your experience. You know what interests you.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time when I'm talking to college kids and kids in high school. It's like, it's hard for me too to say this because I got extremely blessed with the fact that just right away I figured out personal development and coaching is just, not only is it something I believe that I'm phenomenal at, but it's so interesting and I'm willing to put in thousands and thousands of hours into it and not even get exhausted by it. I mean, sometimes I do, but like,
of course,
it fuels me.
appreciate the honesty.
I mean, the meticulous parts of it,
exactly,
but like I can throw on a podcast and just I could just
Yeah,
keep eating
yeah.
information all day just because
Exactly.
like that's what I'm pulled by.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that's my interest.
Yeah.
But the thing I try to tell kids in high school and college especially is like, just try shit out.
Yeah, for real.
Just try shit out. Because they're like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna be interested in. I'm like, okay, well you're an accounting major and you don't give a fuck about math. You hate your classes, you hate your teachers, you dread going to school.
Yep.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's true, man.
What are you actually doing?
Yeah.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
You can't control what interests you. You can't. But you can try shit out.
Yeah.
So try shit out.
Yeah.
Do random things. You're like, well, I have no idea. Okay, throw a rock up in the air And whoever lands closest to the rock, ask them, hey, what do you like doing? And try that out. Don't overcomplicate it. Try random things out. Because two things are going to happen. One of two things is going to happen. Either one, you're going to realize this sucks and I hate this. Or two, you're going to realize this kind of interests me, but I kind of like this too. And you can kind of branch out.
Yeah.
But you're either going to know which path, and most likely paths, multiple paths, you don't want to go down. And or where you kind of, oh, I kind of like this. Let me try and do some of this.
Yeah.
This kind of interests me a little bit. Maybe I can head towards this more.
Yeah.
But sitting there because mom and dad say that, I use the accountant one all the time because it's so it's so beautifully put because it's fucking accounting. If you love accounting and it actually makes you happy,
do you, boo?
Go for it. But for the vast majority of people, like, just please follow what you're interested in. If you're gonna follow the path that's especially if you're in high school and college, you got so much time. I got so much time, bro. I just turned 21. I got so much time. If you're in high school and college and you don't know what you're interested in, and your fear of not having it all figured out by 23 is driving you to stay locked in a major and go towards a career path because you're scared of the unknown, you're missing the whole fucking point.
Yeah. For real.
What's the point of having what's the point of having a safe and secure job if you go home and you're miserable every night? Yeah. What's the point?
As long as you got your basic needs met, like, what's the point? Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's so true.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Obviously, don't go around killing people. Like, if you feel like your purpose is to murder people, like, don't do that. Okay, like that's implicit. That's something that you should not take away from this podcast. Just want to make that clear. But yeah, like you said, like, what is the point, right? Like, there comes a point in time where each and every single one of us question, right? Like, you just last week, or like, I don't know, following days ago, like when your friend asked you that question, he was like, dude, I don't see you doing this. Like, I don't see this as your purpose. Like, I don't think this fills you up, and it makes so much sense. And right now we're in like a time period. I don't know if it's still called this, but recently, it's called like the Great Resignation. You might have heard of it. So pretty much, like, people are, you've definitely heard of this, like, not the formal saying, but more people than ever are working from home.
Yeah.
They don't want to work wage labor jobs anymore. They want to do something that gives them purpose while they can still meet their basic needs.
100%.
Right. And with that, people like at Starbucks are starting to unionize. They want more rights. They want to be paid better. They don't want to be subject to just being used as a means to an end, right? Being used where they are pretty much by their corporate management, where they are given the things at a bare minimum to where corporate can still make profit, right? Because, to pay employees is a cost, right?
Of course.
But they're going to do it as minimal as possible, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to make the most money possible. That's their bottom line. And it's very interesting to see this day and age how, things like van life, things like alternative living, just different ways of thinking, right? Like different ways of different lifestyles, and I find for me, I am very much interested in van life. I think I've touched on this before with you. Just like, if someone's watching this, like, Cal, you want to live in a fucking van? Like,
oh, dude, seems so dope.
Yeah, and like, from the surface, from the outside looking in, from someone who has never heard of van life, they're gonna be like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Because they're so used to living in a home. They're so used to living in like an 1,800-foot square house or whatever. That might even be small. I don't even know what like
I don't know either.
Yeah, okay, but you get what I'm saying. Like a like a 3-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms. Plenty of room to move around. And nah, man, like I love new types of things.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember watching this YouTuber. His name's like Van City Van Life or whatever. Very interesting guy. And he's like, a couple of years ago, I was a DJ, doing what I love. And I was working like 12-hour days at one job and then coming home maybe like 5 days a week and then another 6 hours DJing, right? And he said, working at that other job, the 12 hours, he was like, dude, I was miserable, right? I had everything I wanted. I had like a Sky City apartment. Had like all the girls, exactly,
Everything you wanted.
everything you wanted, right? And then he switched. He was like, he just had like an epiphany one day. I mean, I'm obviously, this is not 100% accurate, but to my recollection, he just had like an epiphany. He's like, dude, I don't want to pay rent anymore. Like, I'm sick and tired of burning my cash. I'm sick and tired of being in debt. I'm sick and tired of just being subject to just such all these things, right? I just want to build a life for myself. And so he was like, I'm going to live in a van. And so he started to live in a van.
That sounded inspirational. I'm gonna live in a van.
I'm gonna live in a van.
I'm sorry.
And he said like he's been living in a van for like 4 years. He built the van himself, right? And it's given so much meaning to his life.
Yeah.
It's so simple, right? He lives in his van and he's the happiest he's ever been.
I think a big part of it too is like what the van like symbolizes.
Yeah.
Which is breaking free of the barriers that you allowed society and your parents and people who are influencing you to put you in, which is my big thing. Like with this whole, don't do accounting if you fucking hate accounting.
Yeah.
It's like society has these things set up for you so that you can do what society wants you to do. But their goal, their bottom line is not to make you happy.
Yeah.
It's to make a better economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what society, to the best of its capabilities, can be doing.
Yeah.
But that's not what's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I guess maybe it comes natural to me. Maybe it's because I'm so obsessed with learning and self-improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But I always look at the bigger picture. It's like,
Huge.
funny enough, talking about accounting, like I'm in this accounting class right now. And actually, let's rewind. Going into, so I'm a junior in college now. My freshman, sophomore, and going into my junior year, I had a 4.0. And I worked my ass off. Like, it was not easy. Like, I was taking exercise science, like anatomy and physiology and biology classes and psychology classes. Like, shit was not easy. It was super hard. Like, I'm not a genius, but I had to work my ass off to get that 4.0. And I realized, like, why? Why do I want the 4.0? Like, I'm spending all this time. I spent all of this time working so hard to maintain a 4.0 GPA because that's what my mom wants me to do. Because my mom is proud of me having a 4.0. For what? Why? Why? All I was doing was studying and doing homework. And I then found some time to do work and exercise. And that was it. But I wasn't reading. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't spending any time self-educating on mindset and mental health and well-being. I wasn't spending any time posting content on social media. It was like, what am I actually using with my time for? To have a 4.0 so that mom and society can be proud so I can get into a good grad school? For what? I'm not happy. I'm miserable and stressed out all the fucking time. What's the point? And when I pulled my head out of my ass and looked at the big picture, I was like, listen, I don't need to drop out of school. I don't need to not try at all. Mm-hmm. But I decided I think it was a year ago. I just decided, I'm like, I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. It's like my mom can say what she wants. My advisor can say what he wants. My teachers can say what they want to say. And they can come up to me all concerned, like, hey, like, listen, like I had the conversation with my advisor. And he was like, hey, man, like, you had a 4.0. Like, seemed like you were really doing well in classes. Like, what's going on? Like, it seemed you're even admitting, like, straight up, you're not putting as much time into classes and stuff. I'm like, and I told him, like, listen, like, it's it's not what I care about. He is coming from a good place. He wants me to live a good life and to work hard. And if I just stopped doing schoolwork and started smoking weed and chilling and not doing anything, he probably has a very valid point.
Yes, yeah.
But what I traded off my time and energy with was no more studying for hours on end, no more homework and assignments for hours on end, especially when it doesn't bring me any value or meaning, especially when it's just for a class, for a grade, for what? And so I told him, like, listen, I'm spending a lot of my time exercising more, meditating, journaling, spending time with people that make me feel good, producing content on social media that's helping the world, building a brand, building a business, things that make my life meaningful. I'm not spending my time anymore on accounting homework. Like that's like that was like the big thing was like I had a C in my accounting class. And for the first time in my life, I was like, I don't give a fuck about the C. I just don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. And you know what? If you're that person out there that says, listen, you're an idiot for dropping your 4.0, you're not going to get into a good grad school anymore, you're not going to get this anymore, these opportunities are thrown out the window because you're lazy or whatever, we'll see how this plays out. We'll play this clip in a couple years. Feel free to comment. Feel free.
Yeah.
We'll see how this clip plays out in a couple years.
You know, it's crazy because, you know, I actually do have a 4.0 too. And it's like, I'm not trying to bullshit you or anything. You literally described my fucking life, dude. Like, and it's like, I'm not stressed out from school, right? And I'm not crazy, I guess you could say, attached to school.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said earlier, I very much value school, and a big part of my day, every single day, is doing schoolwork, right? And it's very interesting to me because it's like that challenged me. I was like, wait a minute, dude. Like, for what? You know, like, what am I doing it for? And like when you said like you're just going to this class and getting a grade, you're not fucking wrong, right? Like, and like, is this really adding value to my life? You know,
That's what I found. That's what I found. I was like, I decided that it was more important to me to not feel judgment from my mom, from society, from my advisors and my teachers. I placed their judgment over my own sense of well-being and meaning in my life. Yeah. And it's fucked.
It really is.
It's not worth it. I'm going to spend hours every single day studying and working so hard to maintain a 4.0 so that I don't feel that judgment from people when they have their own boxes that they're limited in. It's like, not for nothing, too. They're miserable. Like, they don't enjoy their jobs as a professor and as an advisor. I mean, if you do, good for you. But in their cases, it's very clear they don't.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. Yeah.
It's just so backwards.
Yeah. And I think a difference between me and you on this is like I do, like, for instance, I do go to class to get a grade. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, that's my priority, right? As many students are. But I want to do the best I possibly can in these classes. And I think it also depends. But I think for me, for why, is just because it challenges myself. I feel as though it has helped me evolve as a person, right? It has helped me develop habits. It's helped me enhance my life as an individual. Now, do I believe I should value school as much as I should? Probably not. Right?
As much as you do?
As much as I do, probably not. Right. Yeah. And like one of the big takeaways I took from like what you just past said, it's when you said I valued school over my own well-being, right? That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
It was
I value the judgment of society
Yeah.
over my own happiness.
Yeah. And I think that's part of that is applicable to my situation right now.
Yeah.
In a sense that for me to switch over to, I guess you could say, like just not caring about school, I think that would take a big effect on me, right? Even though it is an appearance, right? It appears as though in my reality that school is more important than other things, right?
Let me ask you this. Who do you picture? Who's the first, if your GPA goes from a 4.0 to a 3.5, who's that first person right now? Who's that person that you
Probably my mom.
There it is.
Yeah. But
there it is.
The thing is, it's not, I don't like, for me in my personal situation, I don't do it for my mom. I do it for myself.
I know.
But I'm talking about me solely here,
No, absolutely. I agree. But my thing is like, you're you're very high in your conscientiousness, meaning you're very high in your willingness to work hard and be disciplined. And when you are making progress towards a goal, you feel that good feeling, the meaning, the dopamine that like you're making progress. Yeah. You're maintaining that 4.0. You're doing well in your exams. You're progressing through your classes. You're earning these credits. You're working hard, and that's great. And it's a special. But here's the thing: is if you're working super hard for a 4.0, then all you're working hard for is a 4.0. Let me explain it this way. You're a philosophy major, right? Yep. Okay. So when you have a philosophy class and you have exams and you have your assignments, and these things are helping you develop yourself in ways that are meaningful to you, getting a good grade in that class, I think is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. And I think you should, because I think it's meaningful and you're working hard towards a goal that's meaningful to you.
Yeah.
But what about your gen eds or a minor, or if you're taking an accounting class? I know you don't give a shit about the accounting class.
Yep. Yeah.
If you're going to spend a lot of time,
you're doing it solely for the grade, 100%.
But you're not doing it for the grade, is what I'm saying. Is you're doing it because you are so afraid of looking at your degree evaluation and seeing that the 4.0 isn't there anymore. But that's your ego.
Yeah, 100%. And
if you don't let that go, it's going to trickle over into other places, and it probably already is.
Yeah.
Because the more, I'm not saying stop spending time working on schoolwork. Yeah. I'm saying trade it off to something that's meaningful to you.
Yeah. You got to reevaluate your values.
You really got to reevaluate your values. Like, especially with a couple of my friends who are super high strung like that, like they'll place value over doing schoolwork. Again, they don't want to let their GPA drop because they're afraid of the judgment of society. So they refuse to go out and have fun with friends, which we can get into, which is I think is a big part of self-improvement and personal development, because you're allowing yourself to live your life, have fun, and not live with regrets. But two, you can be spending that time doing things that actually make your life meaningful and pursuing things. Like this interest thing is like a lot of kids I know are working super hard for grades and classes that they don't give a shit about, so that they can impress people that they don't give a shit about, to make money that they aren't going to give a shit about. For what? When you can be spending less time doing schoolwork and more time pursuing things that are meaningful to you and actually bring joy and happiness to your life. It's like you really got to take a look at the bigger picture. And again, I really need to make this, I need to reiterate this 1,000 times because it needs to be super clear. I am not suggesting to anybody that you should just stop doing schoolwork because you don't find it meaningful, because you're not passionate about it. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I am suggesting is if you are putting the judgment of society, because if you are putting the judgment of society over your own well-being, you have to reevaluate that. Because what's your end goal? To get a job. Okay, why? Because I need money to provide for my family. Okay, why? Because this. It eventually, it's going to lead down to because I want to be happy, which is what your goal is.
You're never going to be happy, though.
And you're missing the whole fucking point.
And I think it's interesting because I think I do have to reflect a little bit on this. And it's definitely a topic in my life that I do think requires some reflection. Yeah. But I think the difference between an individual in my stance is, like, I'm doing it solely in itself, right? No, I shouldn't say solely. I'm doing it for the most part in itself, right? And I'm not, my driving force behind doing the best I can in all my classes, right, is not majority due to societal pressure, parental pressure. Like my mom, like, definitely, obviously she wants me to succeed in school, right? But she's not going to beat my fucking ass if I don't succeed in school, right? Like, I find it very interesting because when we're in situations like this, what I'm in right now, like what Jason is like describing and pushing on with me, when I got this feeling when he said why, right? I was like, oh shit, right? Because like this is the type of thing, and my philosophy teacher does this with me as well. Like when we're going over like what argument you're gonna take, he's like, why? Why are you taking that viewpoint? Are you taking it because someone told you to take it, or is that like, do you really know what you're talking about? Do you really know why you're doing stuff? Or are you just doing it because your mom said so, or your friend said so, right? Or society said so. Think about it, right? And this is a message to me too, right? Think about it. It's going to require effort. It's going to require time, right? And that is something I need to do with myself, right?
Yeah.
Do I think I'm going to just give up on school? Hell fucking no. I can tell you that right now.
Absolutely not.
But once again, in relation to my own situation, I think the difference between me and a lot of individuals is through that societal pressure, they become very stressed, right? And they're not conscious of what the source is, right?
100%.
But the difference with me is, and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here, I am almost never stressed out when I'm doing work, right?
Agreed.
I have these self-helping therapies such as meditation, right? And it's been a little bit difficult because I'm putting more on my plate this semester than I've ever done before. And that's on me. That was my choice, right?
Yeah.
But I'm almost never stressed out.
I know.
Right?
But you also work your ass off.
Exactly, right? But it's like that passive progression, right?
100%.
I'm just being myself in the here and now, and I'm attracting what the fuck I am, right?
Exactly.
Vice versa with you too, right? And it's clear you're like one of the most like when I scroll on Instagram and you're like the only fucking person I see posting, I'm like, damn, my man's going hard, right?
Yeah,
and
bro.
it's like wow, respect, you know what I mean? It's like
Appreciate it.
yeah, no, it's true though. You know, like when I see you post like fucking what, like 3, 4, maybe 5 TikToks in one day, I'm just
5
like,
TikToks
yeah,
a
5
day,
TikToks a day,
5 Instagrams a day.
Okay,
2
there you go.
tweets.
Hey, okay, yeah, I didn't know you had a formal system, but it's like you know, it's clear now because I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I wonder. Like, I feel like Jason's like never like never doing schoolwork because I'm not saying you never do schoolwork, but
That's the thing is like, I take it to the extreme.
Mhm.
I have, in my time in college,
Yeah.
I want to be a life coach and a mentor.
Yeah.
I want to be a content creator that helps as many possible people as I can improve their well-being.
Yeah.
And I want to do seminars where I can do that face to face and create an experience for people. That's what I want to do.
It's fucking dope.
I thank you, and I agree. Like that's like 'cause it brings me that path. Like even just saying it, I fucking feel that energy.
Feel
It's
it.
like I
It's
love
gonna
it.
happen,
Like it's coming my way, and I feel it. But in my 3 years here at college, 3.5, no, 3, 2.5. Accounting. Lots of math here.
Yeah, lots of math. Yeah.
In my time here at college, I'm a psych major. I have taken 0 classes that have helped me help a single person. The only class that I've taken that I've actually used and gotten value out of, like the content in the class, is biopsychology. Shout out to Dr. Blau. She's great.
Yeah.
She's taught me quite a bit that I've actually value. And that class I work a lot for, like I work hard for, because I'm getting value out of it. But for every other class, I don't care. I'm going to do what I can to get a passing grade because I'm going to get the diploma. And the only reason I'm getting the diploma is so that I can have this conversation with people saying, I went through it, I took the classes, and I'm going to use what I know to help you. I have the psychological sciences major. I have it. But I can tell you what, I'm using none of it to help you. And I'll still get results.
It's like you're really biting a bullet right there when you say that. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, listen, when I have conversations with people.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
yeah,
you know,
but I mean, it is a bad thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, college
exactly,
is such
yeah.
a fucking business. We can get into that. But
okay.
anytime, like I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And any time that I've actually helped somebody, I have never once looked back and said, glad I went to class so I can learn that to help you. Every single thing, every single piece of information, every single piece of advice that I've given to someone that has actually helped them has not come from classes. None of it.
Yeah.
None of it.
So true. I feel the same way.
But that's what I'm saying is like I've spent way too much time focusing on trying to get good grades so that I won't feel judgment from people that don't understand what I'm passionate about. They don't understand because they don't understand. Like I work my fucking ass off. I work like a fucking hog all day, every day. And I'm the most consistent human being that I know. Like, for real. I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass, but like, for real. I work my fucking ass off all the time. I just work my ass off the things that actually matter.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. And like those things that matter aren't necessarily things that people will see. And yeah, man, it's really true. Like I feel it's okay when I'm in a philosophy class, right? And we're studying like a common idea, like for instance, like controlling your own response to things. I'll be looking back on like primary texts and like the way they wrote back then, and I'll be like, oh my God, bro, I can't fucking understand this shit. This shit's so fucking difficult to understand. But meanwhile, I'm out of class. It's two different languages pointing towards the same idea. And I've discovered this on my own without school, right? Without reading some fucking 2,000-year-old text that's pointing towards the same direction, right? And that to me, just like, I think it really sums up, like, or maybe not totally, but like in a lot sense of like what you said. Like I can learn this shit on my own. Like I don't need school, right? I don't need to read this 2,000-year-old text. If you want to, go for it, right? That's awesome, right? Yeah. But I know I'm not going to be reading a 2,000-year-old text. Why? Because I don't fucking care. Like you said, like why read a 2,000-year-old text? Like you don't care about, right? If you want to, go for it. But it's like I can't even. I really don't know like when I've taken. Like I have taken bits and pieces here and there from philosophy, but like I really haven't. Like I'm like, it's like I don't know, man. Philosophy really, I do value philosophy, but I really don't at the same time. Yeah. Like, it's like one of the only areas I'm passionate about in school, but I also don't feel like you should fixate yourself towards one philosophy, right? Like
how much of your philosophical perspective has been formed from what you've learned?
Oh no, dude, like fucking minimal, like barely. No, exactly. Yeah, it's true though. Yeah, and it's like it's once again, it's something I got to reflect on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, here's Cal, right?
Yeah.
Granted, I think not that you're a better human being than somebody else. I just think that you've mastered self-discipline to a level that 99% of people will never even touch or look at. Probably the average person, their 100% effort is maybe here, and yours is here. But the thing that scares the fucking shit out of me is to think that you're putting a lot of people's 100% effort, 100% self-discipline is here.
Yeah.
Yours is probably here.
Yeah.
That is a gift. That is an extreme gift.
Yeah, you're right.
Did you have to do all the work to get it? Absolutely. But that's a gift that you are who you are.
Yeah.
But to think that you're going to use 75, 80, 90% of that towards things that aren't actually helping you or helping you help other people scares the fuck out of me. Because you're going to be 80 years old one day. Yeah. And you're going to look back on these college years and say, damn, I spent all this time, effort, energy spent towards classes and a GPA that I don't care about, that nobody cares about, that nobody's going to be talking about after I'm dead.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want to do? It's like, It's not that you have to figure out what you want to do, but it's like your 100% should be split up into things that are bringing you passion. Yeah. Maybe you got the gym, you got meditation, and you have all these other things. But like when it comes to like right now it's classes, but like anything that's draining your energy, especially with somebody like you who has this, Jesus,
you good?
My stomach's going nuts. Right
oh shit! Okay.
Especially someone like you who has all of this level of this super extraordinarily high level of self-discipline, to be putting even a lick of that towards something that doesn't bring you meaning is a shame, because you are gonna die one day, and you're gonna look back on your deathbed and say, are you going to look back and say, I'm glad I got a fucking 4.0?
I think I will. And it's like...
And that's not for me to decide. And I'm not suggesting that you should or shouldn't.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is you and everybody else should look at your 100% energy and where it's going. And if it's going towards things that are not meaningful to your life, you got to really, really reevaluate that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Because I think that's a lot of where the stress comes in, right? Because... It's like, once again, like that fog chain, right? Like I, for some reason, want to do as best as I can in school. And that's a desire of mine, right? Now, am I saying that desire is 100% authentic, valid? To the most extent, yes, right? But like you said, like how much value is it giving me?
I know, but again, why Like I'm genuinely, I'm not
No,
like
no, no,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah, no,
poke
you're
and
good.
prod
No, you're good, man. No,
or
yeah,
prove you wrong.
no, no, yeah,
but
yeah.
why do you want to do so well in school?
Like I just said, like I don't know why. Like I just do. Like it's just like an innate force within me. Like I want to do as best as I can. But also
But
with
here's the thing: is, I'm sorry to cut you
no,
off.
no, you're good.
You're like that with everything. I'm like that with everything.
Yeah.
But why?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Immediately my brain goes to this. Imagine, okay, I'm not saying
But I don't think it's because of like societal pressure. Like I don't think that's why.
okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is like if you don't have a strong reason why,
Mm-hmm.
like I just think your energy can be like, dude, you could build such a fucking amazing business and brand,
Mm-hmm.
not for the money, not for the business, not for the brand,
Mm-hmm.
but the sheer number of people you could help
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
You're gifted. You know you're gifted. And you combine the fact that you know your gift with the fact that you are so self-disciplined, like you could take the world
Yeah.
you're in your fucking hands.
Yeah. I mean,
And it just last thought, it just scares me
yeah.
to look back for anybody
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
look back and realize that like they could have done something that would have brought more meaning to their life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what's it for you.
Yeah.
But if you're struggling to find a reason why, maybe it's because you're struggling to find a reason why. But maybe it's because there's something. Maybe it's because there's something else that you're not thinking about. You know?
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. Like it's I don't know. I really got to think about it, you know. And yeah, it's like I said before, it's like this innate force within me that I don't know why, you know. And I think maybe I could pick your brain a little bit more about, you know, like what made you make that shift. I'm not saying I'm going to, you know, but
You can absolutely
no, I know. Yeah, you can't pussy.
do it. You won't.
But yeah, I think it's good because, you know, Friedrich Nietzsche said like you should never become fixated in one area, right?
Yeah.
And you should always reevaluate your values. And I'm taking a Friedrich Nietzsche seminar, and I have actually resonated so much with this guy's like
Really?
philosophy. Yeah, like I find so much of myself in like existentialism, like where you like create your own meaning, right?
Yeah.
And like how the universe doesn't have any inherent meaning, but like we create it ourselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, we shouldn't be fixed into these dogmatic systems, right? And I'm just like, yeah, man, like I feel that rebellion. I feel like that desire for freedom, you know? And yeah, like I don't like whenever people ask me like, what do you want to do with your life? I'm always like, I don't fucking know, like shit. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like,
and you shouldn't.
yeah, exactly.
And props to you for not pretending like you do, like 99% of kids that are our age.
Yeah.
Because like it's hard for me to say it because it's like I got lucky.
Yeah.
I got so lucky. Like the reason why I know I want to be a life coach and I want to do seminars and do content creation is purely luck. I just fell into my lap.
Yeah.
Like life happened. I started working on me and I realized like, oh shit, like this is what I love doing. And it's like blessed. But don't pretend like you I love that you said that because it should give so many people the courage to admit, especially when you're in your high school and college years, that you shouldn't, and most people don't have it all figured out. Yeah. They don't. And pretending to have it all figured out is what gets you into a miserable ass job that leads you to a terrible life that brings you no happiness and joy.
Yeah, like I know I love creating content, but like I'm not even sure if I want to do that. You know, like I'm not even sure like I say I want to like I'm going for my master's degree right now and like or not right now. Sorry. I'm going to go for my master's degree, you know, because like the situation I'm in, I'll tell you after, but I don't want to say it on the internet, but like I'm in an extremely blessed position, right? And for me to not take this opportunity would be foolish. And it will make more sense to you why that makes more sense. But I just don't want to say it right now for context reasons.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's just for people that are in a situation where they feel pressured by their family to always, or not always, but to like kind of stick in this, get a job in the workforce, you know, 5 to 9, have a family, you know, like, you know, just type that. Like, who's saying that, right? Like, who, there's no universal definition that is inherent. That's like, okay, buddy, you got to get a 9 to 5 and you got to work. You know what I mean? Like you, like obviously you could authentically do that if you wanted to, but you don't have to. And I mean, I think, dude, honestly, this was probably one of the best podcasts I've ever done, man.
Really?
Like, it was, yeah, of course, bro. Like, no, I love talking about like challenging positions. You know, really pushing yourself, to think about shit, and just questioning your own values, questioning your own beliefs. Because I'll say a lot of things on this channel that, you know, I do believe and I do believe we should do, but we're not always authentically in those positions to do it.
Yeah. I mean, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap up in a sec, right?
Yeah.
I want something to be very clear to people. I want to make this as clear as I can possibly make it. If you're following a path that mom and dad or society or whoever wants for you and not the one that you want for yourself, regardless if you know what it is or not, but you will know if it's not the right path for you.
Yeah.
But if you're following a path that you don't want for yourself, that somebody else put in your lap for you, it's going to bring you misery. And here's the thing about it, is like, take, for example, you want to start a shoe company. You're 22, fresh out of college, don't know what you want to do with your life, but have been pursuing the career path that mom and dad want for you. Yeah. But you actually want to do the shoe company. You should start the shoe company and have the humility where if it fails, to go back and say, yeah, mom and dad, like, didn't work out. But I could tell you what, mom and dad are going to be clapping and patting you on the back if your shoe company does fucking hot.
Yeah, 100%.
But you know what's going to suck? Being 85 years old, not being able to do it anymore, looking back saying, damn, what if?
Yeah.
What if? Yeah. For what? And for what?
Yeah.
You kept your job as an accountant because it gave you safety and security and benefits because mom and dad said that was the right path to go down. Yeah.
And another thing that I want to touch on real quick before we wrap up is because I think someone could get this interpretation of just doing everything that's pleasurable. You know, that's very much like I believe it's like an Epicurean type of philosophy where you only do like what brings
pleasure.
you. Yeah, like the highest goal is pleasure, right? Yeah. And that is by no means the case, right?
100%.
Well, I think a couple things. You should be spending more time doing things that bring you positivity, right, than negativity. But you're going to have to, when I mean negativity, I don't mean just like surrounding yourself in a negative environment 24/7, but you're going to have to do things in your life that you don't like, right?
Always.
For sure, to get to the goals that you want, right? 100%. But that goal should be grounded in something that is authentically satisfying, that gives you a sense of self. Because like, for like video editing, for example, you know, Jay like loves like to do self-growth type of content, right? But maybe I'm not.
I hate editing.
Okay, you hate editing, right? And I like editing, right? But he's gonna have to learn it, you know, to take his content to the next level, or you know,
the meaning in my life has some parts of it that are shitty.
Exactly. No,
but it's worth it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's a great place to wrap this up.
100%.
Always a pleasure, my man.
Always a pleasure, brother.
All right, there we go. Fucking mics are in the way.
Conscious Cast, Jason rolling out.
Yes, sir. Oh shit. Ah, there we go.
Wrapping up the Conscious Cast, baby.
Not with some random girl laughing in the background, but thank you guys all so much for joining us here on the 27th episode of the Conscious Cast.
Peace, love, and good vibes.
And make sure you hit that like, follow, and subscribe button. Where can they find you, my man, Jason?
Jason Scalora, JASONSCALORA. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.